under this current government. I'm so sorry, BBM, but I would really tell you, if you really love your country, you have really to change these things. We are not an independent, totally an independent country. The Americans really, or the United States, has a heavy, heavy hand on our foreign policy and even our approach to the South China Sea. So may nagtitimon. Isa pa yan eh. Kaya nga andyan si Powell, 'di ba? Isa din siyang spokesperson na hindi naman official, hindi naman siya parte ng Pilipinas, Amerikano siya pero nakikialam, 'di ba? Nagsasalita siya, 'di ba? Interview pa nga siya on the opinion of his opinion on South China Sea when in fact he's an American. So why is that?
Po, ito nga po yung mga ganap ngayon dyan sa South China Sea, West Philippine Sea kasi tapos na yung mga bombahan issue, water cannon issue pala. Dyan sa West Philippine Sea ngayon naman, monster ship issue na naman sa South China Sea. Itatas ko sana yung tanong kung meron pa bang usapan? Buhay pa ba yung usapan? And nakita natin dito, nakatakdang magkita sa Xiamen yung mga diplomats ng Pilipinas at China para pag-usapan. Kasi ito yung needed ngayon eh, hindi yung sabi nga natin dito, megaphone diplomacy. Anong nakikita mo rito, Prof?
I'm so happy and I'm a little bit surprised na magkakaroon ng BCM tomorrow, 16 ata, 'di ba? Kasi 15 ngayon, so 16 tomorrow. Ang dalawang panig, ang China at ang Pilipinas, and it will be I think Yusek Lazaro will be representing the Philippines, and of course yung counterpart niya dito sa China na nasa Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So it's a positive development and it's a welcome development na magkakaroon ka nga ng BCM, yung tinatawag mong bilateral consultative mechanism, because ito yung isang venue na kung saan pag-uusapan ng dalawang bansa na hindi kailangan andyan yung media at parang yun nga ang megaphone diplomacy, but face-to-face discussion on issues na talagang may kinalaman sa relasyon ng dalawang bansa na ngayon ay hindi ganun kaganda politically and diplomatically. So, mapag-uusapan doon at makikita nila kung paano sila I hope they will come to an agreement and they will meet halfway na yung mga very sensitive issues, lalo na yung may kinalaman sa South China Sea, sa dispute sa South China Sea, ma-tease out nila at magkaroon sila ng magandang agreement na kung saan maglilid yan ng mas magandang or mas manageable and peaceful na management of the conflict. Because a resolution is not there yet, but I think the most important dyan sa dispute sa South China Sea is how you manage the dispute, that it will not escalate into something na higher than what is going on right now. Yun yung pinaka-importante. And I am sure yung issue ng monster ship na sinasabi nila, mapag-uusapan yan doon. Kasi yan ang pinaka-latest na issue na binabato ng Pilipinas sa China, at ang China naman is defending itself. Now, we're doing it out within the bounds of the law. Siguro ang reference nila ng tinatawag nilang law is both domestic and international, especially on clause. So I think they will talk about these issues. Ito yung mga sensitive issues kasi. And probably, hopefully, they will talk about other things like, kasi nabasa ko yung report na one of the issues they will discuss is if it's possible for the Coast Guards of both country na magkaroon ng cooperation and cooperation kapag nag-discuss sila at medyo magkaroon sila ng agreement, it could be in a memorandum, in a form of memorandum. So hopefully mapag-usapan din nila kasi kapag nagkaroon ng cooperation ang dalawang panig na lalo na yung mga Coast Guard, it also means na mayroong silang magkakaroon sila ng mas intense na communication, mas open communication, at in a way, magkakaintindihan yung dalawang panig. Kasi ang South China Sea, ang area na yan, ang gumagalaw dyan talaga is Coast Guard, supposedly. Pero dahil nga sa gitgitan at minsan nagkakaroon ng mainit na gitgitan, na pati yung mga gray ship, pag sinabi mong gray ship is warships or military ships, na pumapasok na sa eksena. Dapat kasi hindi. Dapat talaga white ships lang, yung Coast Guard lang, para ang possibility to have a military escalation hindi nandun. Hindi siya potential na mataas. So hopefully mapag-usapan din 'yun at siguro ang iba pang possible na point of cooperation ng dalawang bansa, not necessarily only on the issue of the South China Sea, but even other things like economic, people to people, maayos ang medyo challenging na political and diplomatic relation ng bansa. Sana mapag-usapan nila and they come up with a middle ground na nagkakaintindihan at bumubuti kahit papano ang relasyon ng China at ang Pilipinas na kung saan very important naman talaga at ako'y natutuwa na at least bukas magkakaroon nga ng BCM. I think it's the 11th or I think 11th BCM na ito. Kasi ako talaga parang feeling ko bakit hindi nag-uusap itong dalawa? Pero ngayon, nung malaman ko na mag-uusap pala, okay, good, that's a very good development. Pero ako kasi, I always manage my expectation. I don't expect too much. But na alam mo, yung big results, I think I would, ang sa akin lang is, I'm happy that the two sides will sit down and talk the issues and that is already a good step. Pero as to the result of the bilateral mechanism consultation, bukas, I am managing my expectation kasi mahirap ma-disappoint. So, nandun lang ako sa point na yun. Pero I'm already, to a certain extent, I'm happy that both sides will talk. So yun.
Opo, kagaya sa mga dispute or mga hindi pagkakaunawaan na nire-raise nila sa mga korte, no? Dito sa Pilipinas, minsan naglalabas ng gag order ang korte patungkol sa kung ano man ang mga pinag-usapan doon. Meron po bang ganito pag nagkaroon po ng bilateral na kasunduan o pag-uusap? Maari ba ito? Kasi mukhang mangyayari, taga-DFA, sila yung nakikipag-usap. Minsan kasi ang taga-puna, ang taga-ingay ay itong Philippine Coast Guard o di kaya itong National Security Council. Di po ba ang mga diskarte sa diplomasya, mas nakakaalam dyan yung DFA. Tingin mo rin ba na may go signal din ito sa DFA meron po mga tagapagsalita mula PCG, mula sa NSC, kaugnay dito sa mga ganap dyan sa South China Sea, West Philippine Sea?
Yun na nga ang problema ng Pilipinas kasi sa atin ang daming spokesperson. Sa isang issue, ang daming spokesperson. Like for example, sa issue ng South China Sea dispute, may spokesperson ka sa National Security Council na nagsasalita. Andyan si Malaya. I don't know if Malaya is really the spokesperson of the National Security Council. Pero makikita mo siya nagbibigay ng statement. Sa DND, the Defense Secretary would also make sausaw and make statement on this issue. Pagdating sa AFP, meron din silang spokesperson. Pagdating sa PCG, andyan si Tarela, ang ingay-ingay. So, at mayroon pang isang extra, and that is also the American na CIA, na sino ba yan? Ano pang pangalan niya, Admar?
Ray Powell.
Yung pangalan Ray Powell. So, ang daming spokesperson, pati Amerikano ay naging spokesperson na ng Pilipinas on an issue na isa lang naman ang issue, that's the South China Sea dispute. At most of the time, ang pinag-uusapan lang naman is between China and the Philippines. Other claimant state, hindi naman nasasali talaga dyan sa usapan na yan. Though, there should be involved in the discussion. Or yung statement mo should be addressed to others as well. Pero hindi ganon. So sa akin kasi, that is the problem really in the Philippine side. Unlike, really, kasi dapat, like for example, ang pinaka-entity talaga na should handle this dispute para diplomatic ang approach mo ay yung may kakayahan sa diplomasya. At alam naman natin kung sino yun. That's the DFA, the Department of Foreign Affairs. At sa DFA naman siguro, may mga trained diplomat tayo who can actually make the statement, draft the statement, and would also make the pronouncement kung ano ang official stand talaga ng gobyerno. Kasi we're supposed to be a government. And the government should only have a one stand on a specific issue na very sensitive like the South China Sea. So isa lang dapat ang nagsasalita. And yung pagsasalita niya, yung nagsasalita at kung saang ahensya siya nanggaling, it should be a consolidation. Kasi alam mo, ito sila dapat nag-uusap-usap. You talk it out, what is really the position of the country on this issue. And you come up with a statement ang position na yun. And the one who will communicate it, it's someone who knows how to deliver it in a very diplomatic, that will be perceived in a na mapiperceive siya ng other countries and even yung halimbawa ng China na ito ang posisyon nila at malinaw ang posisyon nila. Pero kasi nagkakaroon ng problema sa Pilipinas kasi magsasalita ang DFA, magsasalita si Chodoro, magsasalita si Tarela, magsasalita si Powell. Ang dami na para bang other countries are confused. Ano ba talaga ang posisyon ng Pilipinas on a certain issue? So, yun yung problema sa Pilipinas. So, kahit nasabihin pa nila dun sa agreement, halimbawa, nagkaroon ng memorandum, they agreed on something na, okay, we will have this stand on issue, both sides, we settle this, pero ang DFA pagdating sa Pilipinas, they will communicate it of course to the government, they will report it to the president and to the other concerned officials, so they will have a stand on it. Now, kapag ganon, ang tanong kasi, sino ba ang dapat lang magsalita on that at mag-deliver na ito ang napagmitingan namin, ito ang mangyayari, at ito ang gagawin ng Pilipinas. Ganon siya. Kasi sa China, and even, not only in China, and even other countries, alam mo, isa lang ang nagsasalita sa kanila. It's really only the foreign affairs spokesperson. Lahat ng question, lahat ng issue, not only the South China Sea, kapag posisyon ng government nila, it's only the Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson who will answer the question and will deliver the statement, and that's the official. Other entities or other people, even siguro yung mga individual people, they will not allow them to speak in an official capacity. Because there's only one official stand as far as they're concerned, as far as their government is concerned. Sa Pilipinas, ang daming sumasawsaw at nagsasalita as if they're also officially delivering the official statement or stand of the country or of the Philippine government. So magulo. So minsan hindi mo rin alam kung ano ba talaga ang positioning ng Pilipinas. So yun kasi kailangan talaga sa Pilipinas mayroon kang nag-uusap-usap dapat sila at alam nila dapat kung sino talaga dapat ang nagsasalita on this issue. I think this happened already. Hindi naman to bago. Sa panahon ni Duterte, there was a time na magulong-magulo itong South China Sea issue. Hindi naman magulo na nagkakaroon ng escalation, pero may magulo in a sense na sa loob ng Pilipinas, ang daming nagsasalita na to the point ang gulo-gulo na kung hindi na alam kung ano ba talaga ang posisyon ng Pilipinas. So anong ginawa ni President Duterte? Di ba pinagbawalan niya yung iba? Sabi niya, okay, from now on this issue, especially yung legalistic na part, it's only at the spokesperson, Harry Roque, who will speak about this issue. Other people shut up. Only Harry. O yun nangyari. Si Harry lang ang nagsasalita. So I think we should have that as a country para malinaw. Ito yung posisyon ng Pilipinas. Malinaw yan. Yung iba, wag ka nang wag ka nang magpabida-bida. 'Di ba? Kasi hindi ka naman para in DFA, you let the DFA handle it. At sila na ang mag-deliver ng official statement ng Pilipinas. Hindi mo kailangan ng gag order dito, Admar. It's supposed to be a standard procedure, a standard operating procedure. Because the issue of the South China Sea is a diplomatic issue. It's more a diplomatic issue kasi you resolve the conflict, not necessarily military-wise or even yung military. You don't approach that in that way kasi that is not our policy. It's a diplomatic issue. So dapat kung sino ang magaling sa diplomasya at ang entity na in charge sa diplomasya, yun ang dapat bigyan mo ng pansin at ibigay mo yung floor sa kanila to deliver the position of the country with regard to that issue. Kasi kahit may gag order pa, kahit sinabihan pa, limbawa sa BCM nag-usap sila na walang lalabas dito na anything, dito lang sa atin lang to, between two governments, wag muna i-media, hindi na pipigilan yung iba na magbida-bida at nagsasalita to the point na ang negotiations na sa BCM na level nagkaletse-letse na kasi nagsalita ito. So nagkakaroon ng problema. At on our part, nagiging defensive tayo kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng kontrahin din si Chodoro kung nagsalita siya. O ganun siya So yun yung problema ng Pilipinas at in this current government, yun yung problema nila. Hindi maraming boss at maraming spokesperson. Dapat si BBM, ang gawin niya, he should be very precise and very clear kung sino ba ang nagde-deliver ng posisyon ng Pilipinas, especially when you talk about the South China Sea dispute. Ang DFA ba? Si Bersamin ba? o siya na lang kaya ang magsalita para nanggagaling sa kanya. Malinaw ang posisyon. Malinaw ang statement on different issues that has something to do with the South China Sea. Hindi yan kailangan i-gag order pa. Pero usually, kapag bilateral consultation mechanism ng dalawang bansa, may mga elemento sa mga pinag-uusapan nila na automatically part of diplomatic protocol and that you cannot reveal it in public because parang hindi naman kailangan at may implication yan sa dalawang bansa in terms of security, in terms of, para hindi magkaroon ng disruption kung ano mga plano nila. Pero sometimes, hindi mapigilan yung ibang bida-bida dyan na chika ng chika, na parang kung ano na pag-usapan, nako-compromise tuloy at hindi tuloy na nagagawa, na parang naman sa kabutihan. 'Di ba? Parang ganun siya eh. So yan ang problema ng Pilipinas. As far as China is concerned, they're very clear. There's only one entity that will speak about any issue that has something to do with foreign relation and may international na level, and that's only the foreign ministry spokesperson. Kung pumapasok lang sa China na part ang pagsasalita ng kanilang spokesperson sa defense, sa national defense nila, kapag ang usapan is napupunta na sa military because that's a military issue. Pero when you talk about diplomasya, foreign policy, very clear sila. I've been observing them for the longest time. Talagang sila, very clear. Ito ang aming official statement. So other people na magsasalita, that's not official. This is the only official statement na i-honor nila. Yun yung tatandaan. Parang sa atin, ang signal doon is, huwag ka nang makinig sa iba. Ito yung pakinggan mo kasi ito yung official. So, malinaw yun. Sa atin kasi parang confused. Nagsabi si Chodoro, nagsabi si Tarela, and si Powell. Sa ano pa talaga? Yun yung problema ng Pilipinas.
Tsaka, Prof, good evening. Si MJ po ito. Sa China, centralized yung kanilang komunikasyon kasi wala silang sinusunod. Sa Pilipinas ba, nakikita mo ba yung pseudo government o yung duality of government sa mga nangyayari ngayon? Na parang may nagtitimon at hindi tayo.
Yeah, that's another issue too. Kasi parang ang problema ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas, may ibang external force na nasa likod natin na isa ring nakikialam sa foreign policy natin and how we handle paano natin i-approach or i-handle ang South China Sea dispute. So yun yung problema din. Kasi hindi naman talaga tayo under this current government. I'm so sorry, BBM, but I would really tell you, if you really love your country, you have really to change these things. We are not totally an independent country. The Americans really, or the United States, has a heavy, heavy hand on our foreign policy and even our approach to the South China Sea. So may nagtitimon. Isa pa yan eh. Kaya nga andyan si Powell, di ba? Isa din siyang spokesperson na hindi naman official, hindi naman siya parte ng Pilipinas. Amerikano siya, pero nakikialam, di ba? Nagsasalita siya, di ba? In-interview pa nga siya on the opinion of his opinion on South China Sea when in fact he's an American. So why is that? Di ba? Totoo naman yan. That's really what's happening in the country. So yun yung problema din. Mayroon kang external force na nakikialam kung anong gagawin ng Pilipinas when you talk about this issue.
Correct.
Mahirap yun.
Ito nga isa, paalis na nga. Nagsasabi pa na ang Amerika daw ay tumayo talaga dapat magpatuloy yung ugnayan sa Pilipinas para bantayan tayo sa mga ganap dyan sa South China Sea. Itong si outgoing Vice President Kamala Harris. Pero ma'am, ito lang meron kasi siyang phone conversation with the BBM. Maraming nagsasabi na ba't siya ang kinakausap? Outgoing na yan. Ilang araw na lang yun sa pwesto. Ba't hindi raw yung nanalo? Ano sa tingin mo ma'am? Parang ginagawang katatawanan ang presidente ng Pilipinas sa mga hakbang na yan.
Yun na nga, hindi ko rin maintindihan ang mga tao na nasa paligid ni BBM and even the Department of Foreign Affairs. Kasi to be very frank, he is the president. Ang level niya is president, head of state din. I'm not saying na napakasnab mo na not to call Kamala kasi hindi ganon. Pero in terms of protocol talaga, even na-observe ko yan sa iba't ibang bansa na napuntahan ko and even here na kung saan nandito ako sa China, na-observe ko talaga yan. Na-observe talaga nila yung protocol. Like for example, kapag head of state ang nag-visit, head of state din ang sasalubo, ang makikipag-usap. Pero halimbawa pag vice president din kasi yun ang katumbas mo. Ito, Bakit ka makipag-usap sa vice president na outgoing when you are the head of state of the country? You don't go down to that level. It's not being snob, it's just the protocol. There's such a thing as protocol that you have to follow. You may call her in a personal capacity as your friend, but in a protocol, if protocol yan, hindi. As much as possible, you avoid it. Kasi dapat pantay kayo ng level because you have to lift up, parang representation yan ng bansa mo eh. Ibig sabihin, nilower mo ang bansang Pilipinas dahil you're the head of state and you're talking to a vice president outgoing. And in the very first place, what is the value of that? Is there any value for the Philippines talking to an outgoing, a loser vice president in the election? Really? I'm not kidding. I was really shocked. Kasi ang alam ko, ang magiging kausap niya, si outgoing President Joe Biden at saka yung outgoing din ata na Prime Minister ng Japan or current. I'm not sure about the Japan. Basta Prime Minister din ng Japan. So parang, well, in a way, sabi ko, ang una kong reaction, why would you talk to outgoing people? Hindi na sila, hindi na sila nasa posisyon kasi outgoing na. Siguro mas maganda ang kailangan mong kausapin is incoming kasi yun ang makakausap mo at yun ang kailangan mong pakipag-usapan when you talk about bilateral relation with that country. Though pwede naman sigurong kausapin mo in a personal capacity but not as the president of the country siguro kung for optics, 'di ba? Pero bigla na lang ang nalathala is Vice President outgoing ng United States. Parang sabi ko, why would you do that? I mean, and why do you have to have this hype, mini-media hype mo pa when in fact, as far as I'm concerned, why hindi siya okay when it comes to the Philippines? Kasi ang level mo is president and you talk to the president too. Now, kung gusto mo lang i-wish si Kamala na, oy, good luck to what you're doing, you will be doing in the next coming days kasi you're outgoing vice president. Good luck ha, and let's keep in touch. That is a personal call, but it should not be an official call na ilalagay mo pa sa mga dyaryo. What is this? A publicity stunt? Just because you have an INC rally and you want to cover up the millions of Filipinos that were on the streets and gusto mo mapunta sa iyo yung eksena ng media dahil kausap mo si Kamala Harris. Ang tanong ko, what's the value of it? What's the value of that for the country? Mayroon bang value? May makukuha ka ba? Ang Pilipinas ba mayroon? Wala. Because outgoing yan eh. Ang kailangan niyang kausapin, kung kaya niyang kausapin at kaya niyang makapenetrate sa kordon ni Trump, is si Trump. Kasi Trump is incoming. Yun talaga yun. Kasi in a matter of time, 5 days from now, Trump will be the president of the United States. So, yun yung kailangan mong kausapin, bati-batiin, congratulations. Kasi yun yung decision maker na ng United States. And these people are outgoing. They will not matter anymore. In many ways, when you talk about diplomatic and official relationship ng bansa. Kasi hindi sila decision maker na eh. So, ganun yun. So, I was really shocked na parang, why would you lower the integrity of the Philippines by talking to an outgoing vice president? Okay pa ako kung si Biden ang na-picture at na-video na he was talking to Biden. Okay, fine. For the last time before you be officially out of office. Pero the vice president, you're supposed to be, siguro yung vice president natin, ang pakiusap mo kay Kamala, level to level. Siya yung kausap eh. Parang, ano ba yan? Sabi ko, ito yung publicity stunt nila. Kasi for me, I see it really as a publicity stunt eh. Sabi ko nga, nung makita ko, ano ba, nauubusan na ba sila ng publicity stunt para ibangga doon sa INC rally para lang magkaroon ng publicity sila na kailangan mong gawin itong publicity na to? I mean, come on, 'di ba? Parang, and what would they discuss? Would Kamala Harris be able to to make decision for any kind of issues like trade with the United States na Trump will be imposing to other countries a 10% tariff? Would Kamala Harris be able to to make a decision on this or intervene on this issue? No. So, yun nga sinabi ko, what is this for? For me, really, it's only for publicity stunt. Na, kasi may INC rally, we need to have a hype in Malacanang na the president is also, na ang shift at ang usapan, the public attention will be shifted to that instead of the INC. No, I don't think it's effective, and I don't think there's value to it when you talk about the Philippines. Walay. Kaya ewan ko, naubusan na sila ng publicity na pwede nilang gawin pansapong doon sa mga nangyayari sa Pilipinas.
Pero ma'am,
Sorry
tandaan po ninyo, negative or positive, still, publicity pa rin. Dito tayo sa isang issue, ma'am. Meron ba
pero
kayo
ang tanong ko naman sa'yo, MJ,
Ma'am.
ano ba siya? May traction ba siya? Nagkaroon ba siya ng positive traction? I think it was a backlash. From what I can see in social media, backlash. Everyone was asking why Kamala Harris. Bakit si Kamala Harris ang kausap niya? Hindi si Trump. Ang backlash sa social media, ganun eh. So, yeah, it's a publicity stunt, pero ang tanong, was it good for the country? Was it good for the office of the president? What is good for him? Or was there a backlash? Backlash eh. So, yun ang value. Anong value nun? Wala. Diba?
Ma'am, meron ba kayo nakikita na mga aral, lessons or values na maaaring mapulot natin ng mga Pilipino sa nangyari po ngayon sa South Korea? Dahil po yung kanilang dating presidente na si Yoon Suk Yeol ay naaresto sa pagdedeklara po niya ng martial law.
Ito dapat maging babala sa sino mang gustong magkaroon ng martial law din sa Pilipinas. Ibig sabihin, ang mga ganitong moves ay hindi na pinapayagan ng mga tao. Well, in the context of the South Korea, parang naaresto na-detain ata muna eh. Tapos ngayon, dinala ata sa isang detention center na yung kanilang president. Tapos ang charges ata maraming charges ata, at isa sa mga charges from what I know is insurrection dahil nga sa pagdedeclare niya martial law. Tapos ang kanyang possible na maging verdict isa doon is life imprisonment or death penalty. Oh my God, sabi ko nung nabasa ko. Anyways, ang lessons dito is ganito, lalo na sa sino man na tawag nito na mag-iisip ng mag-declare ng martial law, especially sa konteksto naman ng Pilipinas na hindi na siya, ang mga tao sa mundo is very aware of, and in terms of information, mabilis nang kumalat. So in terms of this kind of plans, madali na yan ma-prevent. Kasi even in their case, na-prevent nila. So sa akin, kung sino man ang mga nag-iisip dyan na, okay, let's move for something like this, like something to that effect na martial law, siguro, isipin mabuti if it's good for you or it's good for them, kasi they have to know na, I don't think people will agree to it, and I don't think, let us say in the context of the Philippines, na the Filipinos will agree to it, and the Filipinos will just sit down and just observe na, oh wow, we're having this kind of political situation. I don't think ganun na ang current, yung mga tao ngayon, ganun. I think many people are aware already kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng martial law, ano ang nakukompromise dyan. Kasi when you talk about martial law, katulad ng sinisigaw ng mga South Koreans na they are not in favor of a martial law, it's really against democratic rule. It's really the antithesis of democracy. So in many ways, usually in a country like South Korea na ang kanilang they really want to preserve their democracy, people will go against any kind of authoritarian rule. So kaya nga nagkaganyan yung kanilang presidente. So in other contexts, like let us say the Philippines, kasi mayroon tayong history ng martial law sa Pilipinas during Marcos Sr. time. So ang sinasabi ko lang, any kind of move to this effect by whoever, even by the current regime, hindi ko naman sinasabing gagawin nila. Ang sinasabi ko lang, if in any case nasa isip nila or naglalaro sa isip whatsoever, they need to think it over and over and over again. Kasi kung yung ibang konteksto nga, South Korea, they're fighting for democracy. I don't think the Filipinos I think the Filipinos will also be fighting for the preservation of a democratic rule in the country. Kasi I think a lot of Filipinos already, kung alam nila kung anong ibig sabihin ng martial law, alam nila kung anong ibig sabihin ng authoritarian rule, at alam din, may marami pang Pilipino na nabuhay nung time ni Marcos Sr. during the martial law era, na until now, ibuhay pa rin. At alam nila kung gaano kahirap yung time na yon at hindi siya okay. So, kaya ako, ang tingin ko, yung mga nasa posisyon, and even us, all of us, Filipinos should learn lessons from the experience of South Korea. Ngayon nga, ang South Korea, may mga mass protest nga sila na may kinalaman dito sa issue na to. Kasi ang ano dito is, kaya rin siguro nag-move ang parliament nila to, to arrest at saka yung court na mai-arrest. Kasi may clamor din talaga from the public na they don't like to have a martial law in South Korea. Kaya may mga protest rally na nangyari. So ganun talaga. So sa atin, maging lessons learned yan sa ating konteksto at hopefully it will never happen in the Philippines as well. Kasi hindi rin talaga siya maganda. I'm not kidding. We don't want to have a repeat of history as much as possible. So I think naman the current administration is aware of these things, especially the current president. Kasi alam naman niya ang experience nung panahon ng tatay niya at buhay na siya nung time na yon. So, di ba? I mean, at saka yung mga tao sa paligid niya, I think they know what do you mean by martial law in the first place. So, ang maganda, isip-isip. Kumbaga, isip-isip tayo at hopefully it will never happen in the country. But who knows? Di ba? Kasi sometimes, napaka-irrational mag-decide ang nasa puder, lalo na kapag they are pressed to the wall dahil the people is clamoring for change. Katulad ng mga nangyari sa Pilipinas right now. So many people are, INC rally, hindi lang naman INC yun eh. May mga ibang grupo na pumunta, may ibang religious group na nandun, may mga Muslim brothers and sisters pa nga tayo na nandun. Naiisa lang naman ang panawagan actually ng INC rally, peace. At saka malinaw naman sa speech ni Kong Marcoleta na no to impeachment. And at the same time, nilatag din doon yung mga issues ng bayan na mataas na presyo ng bigas, mataas na presyo ng bilihin, all of the issues that is the country is facing. They're clamoring for, resolution to all of these things. So, yun, nakikita mo yun sa tao, nakita mo sa nandun yung karamihan ng tao. Almost roughly all across the country, siguro mga more than 2 million yan. Kasama na yung ibang panig ng Pilipinas. So makikita mo na may clamor. Now, I hope the current regime will not we will not think of anything crazy na they will, try to impose something like what's happening in South Korea na ginawa nung current president nila na ngayon nakadetain. Kasi that is really not good. And I really hope that, they will see it that way na this is not possible. And no one will, Filipinos, I don't think we will agree with that, if in any case. So, ako, ganun ang lesson na ma-perceive dapat ng sinuman sa atin sa Pilipinas. So, yun yung tingin ko.
Prof, maraming salamat sa inyo pong mga impormasyon na ibinahagi ngayon pong gabi. Sa ulitin po, ingat po kayo.